time. Let's break this mother down. With Shizzy, Wiz, Nut.
Now, let me start off by saying I normally don't do software reviews or hardware reviews. That's not what my channel is about, but I'm going to have to give a brutally honest review of this piece of equipment. It is a StreamerX. It is a masterclass in overpriced uselessness. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it because the Rode StreamerX isn't just a bad product. It's a monument to wasted potential. It's a glorified plastic brick pretending to be pro gear while actively making your life miserable. Now, it's not because I'm dumping on Rode. I actually do use a Rode microphone. I quite enjoy the microphone and it seems to be functional, but I've gotten better sound out of a USB mic on certain occasions. Now, first, what exactly is the Rode StreamerX? I mean, for me, it's just an overpriced paperweight. What you get is a tangled, overhyped, underperforming piece of garbage that only works if you sell your soul to Rode software and its ecosystem, which, by the way, is about as stable and intuitive as a blindfolded toddler trying to defuse a bomb. Now, on paper, it promises to be an all-in-one audio-video interface for streamers, but in reality, this thing is just an extra hunk of gear that does nothing useful unless you babysit it with chunky, bloated software that looks and feels like it was built during a high school coding project. If you want a USB mic, well, no, that's not even close. With the StreamerX, it refuses to work with USB mics, instantly forcing you into an XLR setup, or worse, into buying Rode's own overpriced wireless lapels. If you want to control those mics, you've got to log into Rode Unity and keep it running in the background to use the faders, because apparently Rode's engineers have never heard of a standalone functionality. Well, the StreamerX just laughs in your face. You'll need to have Rode Central, Rode Unify running, but not just installed, but actively running to control any of the faders, which you will spend hours just trying to fix the sound that is coming out of the piece of equipment, or if it's maybe possibly just a constant hiss. And don't think that you can use the Rode Central or Rode Unify at the same time, because they'll trip over each other like two drunk toddlers fighting over a sippy cup. Now, another thing is if you're wanting to go out of town with your show and do something on the road, say, for example, you want to have a small amount of gear, so you're going to take a small laptop. Well, forget about that, because you've got to have all these extra Windows software and bloated background processes that are eating your system alive. You'll be lucky if your stream doesn't turn into a sideshow of lag. It's like buying a car that only drives if you leave the dealership website open in a browser tab, and it's actually faster and easier just to use your cell phone for live streaming. But hey, at least with the StreamerX, you've got little buttons with an onboard voice changer, and that's if you can get it to actually have sound come out of it. So you'll watch your CPU cry as your fan spins into overdrive just so you can run a live stream that you could have probably handled better with just a cell phone taped to a rock. Now, with the Rode StreamerX and its sad little software, you can take your pick of what software you're going to use with that, because you don't get professional noise removal or smart processing. What you get is ham-fisted compression system that squashes your audio so aggressively it sounds like grandma wheezing through her third cigarette of a morning after a 2-pack bender. Or it allows so much noise through that it sounds like you're in a wind tunnel filled with rock salt and sand with just about as much pain. So let's cut through all the Rode marketing fluff and say the quiet part out loud. You would be better off buying a $20 USB mic off of Amazon stamped together in a sweatshop by underpaid Chinese factory workers than wasting your money on a Rode StreamerX. Why? Because at least that cheap USB mic doesn't need a circus of bloated and buggy software just to function. You plug it in and boom, it just works. It may not sound like $1 million, but at least you won't be stuck watching hours upon hours of YouTube tutorials by self-proclaimed audiophiles telling you how to coax a Rode product into doing something that it should be able to do just basically. Why exactly would you spend thousands of extra dollars on this tangled nightmare just to fix problems you didn't have before you bought the Rode gear into your life? Now, you wanted to take your stream up and add a little bit of something extra, even though your existing system was working fine. Well, that's too bad, because now you're going to be trapped into an ecosystem where every fix requires buying more mics, more hardware, more cables, just to make the original gear function at the level it could have out of the box. And I'm not saying that it's just the Rode mixing console, StreamerX, whatever that is. I also include the Rodecaster Duo. And you wonder why I bring this one up. Well, because that was my first purchase, and I realized that it was by itself 4 times the size of the StreamerX. And it would have probably been fine if it didn't brick itself on the loading screen after just 2 days of owning it. Now, imagine my surprise after spending several $100s on something that turned itself into a glossy, useless brick faster than I could even try the factory reset. Well, by the way, that factory reset doesn't work. I spent 4 hours on that rabbit hole, chasing everything that I possibly could before I reached out to their customer service, which was excellent, by the way, if I had, enough time to spend outside of streaming and creating content to waste on getting their product that should have worked right out of the box. Now, the issue that I was having, they wanted me to film it and send it to them so they could review what it was. Now, they never were able to open up the audio file, the video file that I sent to them, and never figured it out. It was getting beyond a waste of my time, and it was just quicker to return the gear. If I decided to purchase it later, I could do so. Now, let me just say that this is not professional grade gear. It is corporate level trolling. Rode managed to take what could have been a very, very useful tool, and they turned it into a self-inflicted embarrassment. It is a product so deeply flawed, it's a tech support horror story, as I found out. The StreamerX is an overpriced, overhyped gadget. It's useless without Rode's non-functioning software. It's unfriendly to use for USB mics. It's clunky to use on laptops, and it's pointless unless you buy into the Rode ecosystem or a bunch of extra gear that this was supposed to eliminate. So bottom line, it's just more frustrating than it's worth. So if you value your time, your sanity, and wallet, just skip over this overpriced e-waste and stick to simple, streamlined solutions, or better yet, just hire a guy, to hold a $20 USB mic up to your mouth while you stream. And it would be more cost effective and reliable, and definitely less frustrating. At least he won't demand 3 software windows, 2 firmware updates, and a blood sacrifice just to deliver mediocre working sound. Now, I rate this on a 1 because you can't really rate it 0. The StreamerX is a masterclass on how to overcomplicate what should be simple and turn gear that could be great into a messy, over-engineered disaster. Just grab a dirt cheap plug-and-play microphone, enjoy your life without needing an engineering degree, a software babysitter, or even a financial advisor. I think Rhodes could have done much better on this piece of equipment, and that's my honest review of it. Now, like I said, my content isn't about doing reviews on gear. I usually avoid these kinds of things because I just purchase the gear that I need and plug it in and make it work. I was hoping this was going to simplify my streaming and simplify everything that I was doing. Instead, it made me spend more time just to try to get it to work. And after multiple attempts, I just never did. So I'm returning this back to whence it came and find something that may be more suitable. In the meantime, I'll just keep my microphone plugged in to the gear that I already have and hope that, the rest of it at least catches up at some point in time. But again, if you want to spend money on something that is going to take a lot of time just to get it straightened out, then yeah, the StreamerX is probably a wonderful little piece of equipment. I just don't have the time or the patience to do so. And I'm sure you'll hear other people that want to say, hey, the StreamerX works great, and here's the things that you need to do. And trust me, I spent hours trying to figure out how to get things to work that just clearly weren't going to work. So good luck, Rode, on your piece of equipment, and hopefully they'll improve it over time. But in the meantime, I'm just going to stick with the gear that I currently have. Now, if you like this video, hit the like and subscribe if you want to. I don't normally, like I said, do reviews of equipment. My content revolves around much other things, usually sarcasm and a lot of fun. But this is what it is. So enjoy, and see you again soon. Peace.
It is about time. Let's break this mother down. Whiz, shizzy, whiz, nut.